Hello and welcome to our Wednesday training. I hope your week is going great. Week is flying by. I know I say that all the time, but time just seems to be speeding up and we hit Wednesday before we know it. So today we are going to talk about mastering your money. So we're going to look at different tips that as a construction company you can start doing to take control of your finances. My name is Kerry Postal. I have the honor of owning Abacus Business Solutions. We are celebrating 10 years in business this year, and we love to work with clients to help them to know, understand, and trust their numbers. And I know that probably sounds kind of boring, but as a business owner, it's really important that you have all three of them. You have to know what your numbers are if you want to be successful. You need to be able to understand what those numbers are telling you as well, so you can make those informed financial decisions. And the trust part is you have to trust that the information that you are being given is accurate. So that's where those three things have come from. And that's from seeing different things over the years, different comments that clients have made when they've come on board, that they don't know the numbers, they don't understand their P&L, they don't understand their balance sheet, and they certainly don't trust them as well that they are accurate. Okay, so let's jump straight in. So mastering your money. So this is designed to help you to gain control over your finances. We want to make sure that we're looking at, creating realistic budgets, looking at your financial performance in your business. Is it working? Is it not working? What can you change? And then, of course, good old cash flow. How can we look at improving that as well? So when you start looking through these and you start listening, you make notes, and then just start putting these into play one by one and just start getting to a position where you feel that you know your numbers and that you know exactly what you need to be doing to grow your business to the next level. So the first one is understanding your financial landscape. So before you can take control of your finances, it's really important you have a clear understanding of your financial situation. So that means you need to be looking at those reports. If you have a bookkeeping department, if you have somebody who sends you your reports, maybe you've outsourced your bookkeeping, then you need to make sure that when they're sending you the P&L and they're sending you the balance sheet and they're sending you a cash flow statement, you are looking through those. Don't just get the email, take a quick glance and then file it, or print them off, take a quick look and then put it in the trash. You have to look through those reports. It's giving you so much information as a business owner that you can use and then put into place, put into practice what it's showing you and what you need to do different, do better, stop doing, keep doing, whatever that might be. So look at that income statement or P&L, depending which one you call it. Look at the balance sheet. Look at your cash flow statement. And if you don't understand what they're telling you, then ask the person that prepared it for you to explain it. And they should be able to confidently walk you through every report and tell you exactly what is going on in your business. You want to be able to identify from those reports, what are your revenue sources? What are your fixed expenses? What are your variable expenses? And what are the debts that you have outstanding? How much money is going to debt payments each month? So this knowledge can give you the foundation of creating an effective financial plan. So next we want to look at creating a realistic budget. So you need to have a well-structured budget in your construction company. So let's look at these three steps. So you want to have project forecasting. So I know everybody hates that word job costing, but when you're in construction, it's part of what you do, whether you like it or not, whether you call it something else. Job costing is job costing. It's basically looking at how much am I selling this job for? How much am I being paid for it? And how much money am I making off of it at the end of it? So how much is the client paying you? How much are you paying out to vendors and subs? What do you have left over? That's job costing. You can sugarcoat it, call it whatever you want to, but that's what it is. And so you have to make sure that when you're doing those estimates, you have the accurate information to build that estimate. What are the costs that you're going to incur? Are you putting in some kind of margin, of room for error, price increases? Do you have verbiage in your estimates in the event of a price increase? And then looking at what is your markup? How did you figure out what that markup should be? Did you look at your fixed overhead expenses? All the people maybe you have in the office or the background stuff going on, your building, the utilities, all that stuff is a fixed overhead that has to be paid for by the jobs. Now, it's not going to be a line item on the estimate, but that's part of your markup. So just be keeping that in mind and make sure you know those numbers. So when you're doing your estimate, you're looking at the labor, you're looking materials, equipment rentals, subcontractors, permits, and lots of different expenses as well, depending in which area you are in. But be conservative in your estimates to avoid potential budget overruns, but be as accurate as possible. Make sure you do the research. Don't just throw a number at it. If you're not sure what something is, then do the research to go and find out what that is. Secondly, what is your monthly overhead? Calculate what your monthly operating expenses are. That includes your office rent, utilities, insurance, salaries of people not directly working on the job, and any other overhead costs that you may have. And make sure that you're allocating a portion of your revenue to cover those expenses. That's the only way you're going to stay in business, is if the work you're doing and work performing is making enough money to cover those overhead expenses. And then finally, have an emergency fund. Set aside a portion of your income as an emergency, just in case you get those unexpected expenses or other financial downturns that may come along. Make sure you've got that account set aside. I like to call it a vault account, and then name that as an emergency fund. But it's not for something just to handle a regular cost that you forgot about or a downturn in business. It's partly for a downturn, but I don't want you to be relying on that. I don't want you to be looking at that. Oh, when it's there, I can just use that. I don't want you to have that mindset. I want you to look at that as a real emergency account, something that is totally unexpected, COVID, something that just didn't happen, or unforeseen expense that just could never have been known. I don't want you dipping into that emergency account every single month, putting money back because you have an emergency. So make sure you define what that is in your mind. Okay, so monitoring your financial performance. So you got to make sure that you see how is your business doing. So maybe you have KPIs in place. So that's a key performance indicator. And in construction, you need to look at what those KPIs need to be for you to be able to see how your business is performing. Maybe looking at project margins that you are getting on your jobs, project completion rates. How many jobs are you getting completed on time? Accounts receivable turnover, revenue growth. There's lots of different KPIs that you can put into place that you as a business owner can use and understand and identify where there's issues, what's working, what's not working. And that will just give you a really great and valuable insight into your company's financial health. Financial reports, like we said, you've got to be looking at these monthly, quarterly, annually. Look through those, analyze them, go line item by line item, and see in those areas where you can improve. And then don't forget, you need to be doing a variance analysis. So when you're completed a job, clients paid up in full, you paid all your vendors, you then want to look at, okay, where was there a variance? Where did your budget come in versus your actual costs? How did that work? Were you under budget? Were you over budget? Did something come up on a job that maybe needed to be a change order and it got overlooked and the client didn't pay for that? You've got to make sure that you do an analysis of every job that you complete, so you can make sure, what can we learn from it? Did we do it right? Did we make money? Did we make enough money? And just make sure that you are understanding if something has to be changed in your business. And then, of course, finally, cash flow, everybody's favorite subject. But it's the lifeblood of your business. There's no way that you can deny that. It is what it is. So make sure that with your customer invoices, you've got clear payment terms on them, that your customers know when that payment is due. Hopefully, they're paying a deposit up front and then paying payments throughout the course of the project. So make sure everybody's aware, they're on the same page, and it's clearly defined, and everybody understands when the next payment is due. If that payment is late, make sure there's somebody in your office that has that responsibility to follow up with that customer and find out why they haven't paid. So streamline your procurement. So you want to make sure you're getting favorable payment terms with your suppliers and your vendors, and making sure if you do have inventory on hand that you're handling that efficiently. So don't be having so much cash tied up in inventory in the warehouse if you don't need to. So just make sure that you understand that you've got good payment terms, you know how much you have on hand, you know what your order level is, kind of like, hey, when it gets to this many left in stock, we know we have to reorder. Make sure you have all of that in place so everybody on your team is clear as to what that looks like. You want to make sure that your projects are running efficiently. You optimize those project timelines and make sure that you're minimizing that delay so that you're not slowing down that revenue you're coming in. If your customer's paying you when you get to certain points of the job, you want to make sure you're hitting those when you're expected so that cash flow is coming in. And then, there may be times when you need to explore financing options. It's definitely a goal and a target that companies should have in place, that they don't need to be doing that their jobs are paying for themselves up front. But, stuff happens. I get it. So sometimes I know that isn't possible. So make sure you've got something in place just in case, or just start building up, a different kind of vault account for, for paying expenses, when jobs are happening, or making sure that when people pay those deposits, that money is actually getting used towards paying that material deposit or whatever that may be. So don't do getting in that deposit from the customer and then spending it on something else. So to conclude, hopefully that was a lot of information in that, I know that, but I hope that helped you to get a really good understanding as to what you need to be doing as a business owner. You're in construction, I get it. You want to be out in the field, you want to be working, getting your team going, everybody motivated, but you've got to be looking at the numbers as well. You have to understand that side of your business. So you want to make sure you're mastering all those things we talked about, that you're taking control. Make sure that you've got that financial stability in place and that it's growing, and that you are taking your business to the next level. So create those budgets, monitor the financial performance of your jobs. And then when you need to, seek professional advice. Don't try and do this on your own. There's so many businesses that try to keep going for so long without asking for help. It was interesting. I was on a Facebook group the other day, and it was a construction-based group. And somebody said, I need to hire somebody to help me with my bookkeeping. I've been trying to do it myself, but it's just not happening. And it was really interesting. Oh, no, they were asking when they should hire a bookkeeper. That was it. And it was really interesting because so many of the comments, all from other construction business owners, were saying, do it right now. It's the first thing you should do. Don't wait. I waited too long. I wish I hired someone sooner. And every single person was like, do it. There was not one comment on there that said, oh, just wait. You don't need one yet. Keep doing it yourself. Every single comment was, you need to do this now. So I thought that was really interesting that other companies that had delayed are saying, don't make the same mistake that they did. So we are here to help you and support you through this. This is what we do. This is what we can help you to know your numbers, but still allow you to focus growing the business, but give you the tools and the information that you need in order to be able to do that. So comment next steps below if you would like me to reach out to you. We can set a time to jump on a Zoom call, just to chat, just a conversation. There's no pressure. There's no expectation. Just let's have a phone call. Let's see where you're at, and let's see if this is something that you need in order to get your business to the next level. So also don't forget, as always, feel free to share this training with anybody else that you feel would benefit from this. And let's start working on our businesses. Let's really focus on building that profitability, growing the business, what's working, what's not working. Make sure you know that and make those changes, because if nothing changes, nothing changes.